The San Antonio Spurs finished the season at 62-20. That was a 28-game improvement. Let that sink in. Wemby dropped 35 in his playoff debut, and people are still sleeping on them to win the title. Can the Spurs win it? I'm going to dig in. Plus, I know nobody wants to hear this, but the Orlando Magic are about to walk into Detroit and take that series from the Pistons. And today I'm going to explain why. And the New York Mets, I don't even know where to start, but we will. It's NFL Draft Week, and I've got some takes on who your team should be calling. It's all today on the show. Let's get into it. Playoffs are underway, and after one game, here's where we sit. In the East, the Magic beat the Pistons, Celtics handled the 76ers easily, Cavs over the Raptors, and the Knicks took care of the Hawks. In the West, the Thunder routed Phoenix, Spurs took care of the Blazers, the Nuggets held off the Timberwolves, and Lakers beat the Durantless Rockets. The Celtics and Thunder handled their business easily. I do not have much to report here. Both those teams look poised for a deep playoff run. I do not see any trouble in the first round for them. Ultimately, the Cavs will outscore the Raptors, and hopefully we can get into some high-scoring affairs. Cavs defense will not be present in this series. The Knicks will handle the Hawks, but I think the series will take a toll on the Knicks. The Hawks are going to run them ragged. They're young, they're athletic, and the Knicks bench is not that amazing. I think the Knicks win the series, but the toll they take during this series with the Hawks is going to come back to haunt them later in the postseason. Moving to LA, we need to see Durant play before we can fully analyze this Lakers-Rockets matchup. But I do think the Rockets will win if Durant is playing in Game 2 and through the rest of the series. Heck, they should have won Game 1. If they just had one guy that decided he wanted to be a scorer, they would have won that game. It's kind of troublesome. Bringing in Durant seemed to stop the progression of all the young guys in Houston, and they have a lot of young talent. So they desperately need Durant. He is the only go-to scorer that they have. But I do feel the Rockets are going to win, and honestly, they got a chance to win without him based on the Lakers' injuries as well. It just might take 7 games. But these are the 3 series worthy of closer examination, in my opinion. We got the Wolves versus the Nuggets, Spurs versus the Blazers, and Magic versus the Pistons. That's the series I am most interested in the East right now. I was very critical of the Magic heading into the postseason. I love their talent. I think they are a young team on the rise. And my concerns are still warranted, I believe. But they did address them in Game 1. Paolo Banchero is not good at finishing at the rim. He is a rising superstar who raises his game when the playoffs come every year. He's averaging almost 28 points per game through his playoff career through 13 games. Very good player. My knock on him has been his reliance on the mid-range and his unwillingness to attack the paint. He's not a very good finisher at the rim. However, in Game 1, Paolo attacked the rim. He didn't finish well at the rim, but he got fouled. He got to the stripe. He put pressure on the vaunted Pistons D and made them adjust their game plan. Great on Paolo and Coach Mosley for getting them to play downhill. Like, that is what they needed. And it paid off. It's very similar to, having a fast guy playing wide receiver that's just running deep routes, right? He's a decoy. That's a very similar tactic to what Paolo's doing by attacking the paint. Like, he's not a great finisher, but putting that in the Detroit's head that Paolo might attack the rim is going to affect the way they play defense. And that's what you need to do against Detroit because they have a fantastic defense. You need to make them second guess what they're doing out there. On the flip side, Detroit, like Cade Cunningham needs somebody to help him. Jalen Duran was not that guy in game one. He got outplayed by Wendell Carter Jr., and that cannot happen if Detroit has a chance to win this series. Jalen Suggs for Orlando came out and matched the Pistons' intensity by himself. He was diving on the floor, playing tenacious defense. He took the heart out of the Pistons, and he put it right there. If he continues to play this way, the Pistons are in trouble. Hart has been on Detroit's side all season. But if Jalen Suggs and the Magic can show that they have more heart, then Cade alone will not be enough to win 4 games. And this is my hot take. I think the Magic are upsetting Pistons. It's going to take 6 games. Magic move on to round 2. Moving to the West, the Nuggets and Wolves series is going to be entertaining. I picked the Wolves before the playoffs started as my dark horse upset in the first round. And I'm not fully jumping off that wagon, but I saw some things in game 1 that disturbed me. And ultimately, it comes down to the main dude, Anthony Edwards. Apparently, he has some kind of knee thing going on. He had a knee thing earlier in the season. I don't really know what's going on there. I'm not going to put credit into that. I think the Wolves lost the game. Overall, I like this Wolves team. I like Julius Randle. I like Naz Reid. I like Gobert's defense and size in the middle. He gave the Joker fits in game 1. I know the Joker normally dominates him, but like he's still an awesome defender, and he will cause some issues. But in the end, it's all going to come down to Ant-Man. And if he continues to do things that I find detrimental to the outcome of games, they don't have a chance. And I'm going to go through what I'm talking about. It wasn't just game 1. I've seen it previously, but we'll just focus on game 1. Anthony Edwards, in the closing 5 minutes of the game, decided to settle on 3-point shots, and they weren't even good 3-point shots. He chose that over an actual offensive possession, and he did that at least 2 times in the final 5 minutes of the game when it was a 5-point game. He didn't use any of the shot clock. He didn't put any pressure on the defense. He didn't even wait to get a good look at the basket. He just launched 3-pointers that missed. And in my mind, those shots lost them the game. Each one, I was just like, that was your shot. That was your chance. And you did not take advantage of it. One of the shots just was off an inbound pass. The ball comes inbounds. Anthony Edwards catches it with time on the shot clock. There's 2 Wolves teammates right next to him and 3 defenders. 6 guys just huddled right there. And he just turns and launches a 3-pointer and missed. It was a 5-point game. Anthony Edwards can shoot threes. He is a darn good basketball player. He's not Steph Curry. He shouldn't be just jacking threes like that. He needs to attack the rim like Paolo was doing all game. And Ant-Man can actually finish. I don't understand the intimidation from him. Or maybe he's a bit overconfident and thinks he can shoot like Steph. But he should be playing downhill in the 4th quarter of a close playoff game. Put the pressure on the D, get fouls, and drive and dish to open shooters. Everybody wants to crown him the next Jordan. Well, Jordan won a couple titles by driving and kicking the ball out to shooters for the last shot. Why does Ant-Man insist that he has to do it alone? And I don't know why the Wolves, they were all smiling at the end of that game. Losing. While the last minute was ticking down, they're just smiling. They have nothing to smile about. They blew that game. They had it in their grasp the entire game. And they blew it. And the Nuggets are not going to be an easy team to walk over. So every win is extremely crucial. Every win you let slip away is even more crucial. Moving to the Spurs. Wemby was fantastic in his debut. Youth does not stop Wemby. He had 35 points on about 62% shooting, 5 of 6 from 3-point land, 4 or 5 from the stripe, 2 blocks and a steal. The guys he was primary defender on were like 0 for 11 from the field. He only had 5 rebounds, but that's going to change. This is his first playoff game. He's a little excited. He only had 1 assist, and that's going to change as well as teams start to double and triple team him, and he will kick the ball out to shooters. The issue with the young Spurs was the other guys, the other young guys. Too many possessions that didn't go through Wemby looked stale, stagnant, just didn't end in quality possessions or looks at the rim. Just low percentage, long field goal attempts. It didn't look good. I picked the Spurs to go very deep in the playoffs, and I do feel that they are the team that can beat the Thunder. But not if everybody not named Wemby is playing scared, is playing passive. That has to change in game 2 if the Spurs can even think about winning a chip. That style of stagnant play, that passive approach the young guys took, led to Portland sticking around and clawing back into the game. I had 2 huge deficits they kind of chopped away at throughout the game. The Spurs need to step on their throat, keep them down, finish them. That's what champions do to lesser competition, and that is what Portland is comparative to the Spurs. Now go prove it, Spurs. Again, I have the Spurs and the Thunder meeting in the conference finals, and the NBA champion may probably come from that series. But don't count out the East if the Spurs advance, because that youth that was present in game 1, albeit outside of Wemby, that youth may show up on the biggest stage if they make it there. So they need to put that to bed right now in round 1. And after everybody playing one game of the playoffs, the Thunder look like defending champions. They look poised to roll through the playoffs and add another banner. Moving to the NFL. Draft week. Draft is this Thursday, April 23rd, 8 p.m. Eastern on ABC and ESPN. I've covered some of the top prospects here and there as we approach the draft. And there are a couple teams, in my opinion, that really need to have a good draft. We got Miami, the Dolphins, with 11 picks. They've been shedding talent all offseason, and they need to replenish and rebuild. Both New York teams need help in free agency. The Giants just traded Dexter Lawrence, so they do probably need to look at a defensive tackle. And Harbaugh may want to look at Downs. So they need to pick the right guy and knock it out of the park. The Baltimore Ravens, the team Harbaugh just left, they also have some work to do in the draft. But today I'm going to focus on the Dallas Cowboys. They need to draft defense well. And they usually draft well. That is one of their avenues for improving their roster. They are not big in free agency. And that's another reason they need to draft well, is they did not do anything sexy in free agency. But they like to build through the draft. They like to develop their own guys. They like to keep them around. So they need to continue doing this, and they need to draft well. I think they need to hit on at least 2, but probably 3 defensive contributors to make that happen. Sonny Styles would be a huge get, and so would Caleb Downs. Will one of those guys drop to number 12? Or do the Cowboys need to get creative? Should they target the edge? Here's how I feel. I think the Cowboys should hold steady at 12 and take Ruben Bain if he falls to them, or Sonny Styles, or Caleb Downs, if those 3 fall to them. They need help all over the defense. Safety and linebacker are deep in this draft. There's not a lot of top-end talent at safety, but it's deep. So they can find some help at linebacker, some help in the secondary later in the draft. I would target edge right now. Again, unless Sonny Styles drops to them or Caleb Downs, then you probably have to pull the trigger on one of those 2 guys. But if they do not, Bain is more likely to drop, I think, to 12. So I would take Bain at 12, trade down from number 20 for more day 2, day 3 picks so you can get there and get linebackers and secondary help. And if Bain is gone, Styles is gone, Caleb Downs is gone, then go ahead and trade number 12 and look to draft Mesidor at number 20, Bain's teammate. Then still go back and fill linebacker and safety later in the draft. Moving to the Patriots. They're rumored to be traded for A.J. Brown on June 1st. And it looks like the Eagles are looking for 2027, 2028 draft capital in return. The 2026 draft is a little bit weaker than next year's. So the Eagles are fine not getting any compensation this year and waiting till June 1st so they can drop the dead cap from $40 million to $20 million on A.J. Brown's contract and then ship him to the Patriots. I knew it was going to happen. All of the signs were pointing to A.J. Brown being ousted from Philly, and I think the Patriots is a great spot for him. They seem to go together. A.J. Brown is a big, tough receiver, kind of like Vrabel, kind of like what the Patriots normally build. I think it's a great fit. Now, I'm curious to see what they get in return. How many draft picks? Do they get a first rounder for A.J. Brown? It would be interesting to see. And sticking with the Patriots, I'm going to go ahead and touch on this Diana Rossini thing, but I'm not going to talk too much about it. I really just how dumb do they think we are? How dumb do they think people are? Admittedly, the American public has shown that we will forgive and forget, so why not lie? Tomorrow we will be on to another story, and we won't remember any of this, so why come clean? However, I remember a world where people accepted the consequences for their actions instead of blaming something or someone else. We saw the photos. Looked like an extremely close friendship. And an extremely close friendship should be revealed by a professional reporter, even if it's not sexual, because it changes the intent of your reporting. This was something y'all were obviously trying to hide. Called it a friends outing, yet no pictures of friends have surfaced. It's weird, shady. Just own up to it. Georgia wide receiver Zachariah Branch got into some hot water, but it appears he might have done very little to deserve it. He was in attendance at his brother plays football at Georgia still, where Zachariah Branch went to college and played wide receiver. And he was arrested for standing on the sidewalk. I don't really know the full story, but the arrest seems egregious, and it may hurt this kid's future. The cops should have taken a second and breathed and truly examined the situation before just arresting a kid for maybe being argumentative and combative while standing on a sidewalk. The reporter who dropped the story probably should have gathered some more info before reporting this story. It is a story, but the details I read when I woke up this morning were lacking any information to make it an article. Be better, people. Zachariah Branch, that goes for you as well. This is draft week. You have to keep everything above reproach. This is a message to us all. Everything is on camera now. You need to be cognizant of your actions, who is watching, and the consequences of these actions. Moving to baseball. MajorLeague.com Power Rankings. We got the Dodgers in first again. Braves, Padres, Yankees back at number 4. Pirates moving to number 5. And Arizona peeking in at number 6. Touched on the Dodgers a few times this season. They're not going anywhere. They got the most talent in baseball. They will be there in the end. I think they're going to have some challenges in the playoffs because baseball is not played on paper. But the Dodgers will be sitting pretty in the 1, 2, 3 slot of the power rankings probably all season. Unless something crazy happens. Braves, surprising me. They are surprising me. Their pitching is held up well. I love Ronald Acuna, and he is playing fantastic. I love what Atlanta's got going, and The NL East is so interesting to me. The Mets, the Phillies, the Braves, like whoever's supposed to win that division never does. They always end up having like a terrible year. And the Phillies are usually just right there. Nobody really picks the Phillies to win the division in most years. It's always the Braves and now the Mets. I don't, it's an interesting division. Padres, I went over them last week in detail. Love the team, love what they're doing right now. I hope they keep it up all season. The Yankees, back in number 4. I love seeing it. That is my team, but they still have bullpen issues. They need to fix that. The offense has started hitting again, but they need to stay out of these winter breaks that they like to take where they just go ice cold. The starters are looking fantastic still without Cole, without Rodon, and they're going to get those guys back soon. I still feel that they're going to have one of, if not the strongest starting rotations come playoffs. Judge is mashing home runs. I think he has 10 now on the season, and he's not really hitting all that well. So watch out. Aaron Judge, the Aaron Judge, will be back to normal soon. He's an all-time great. Like, he's not going to hit 230. And their youth is coming through big time. The Yankees never really let their young prospects get a full chance on their major league roster. Their team is too good to, like, give a season or two to a guy trying to find his way. So they always end up trading their prospects to get known commodities. They didn't do that this offseason. They haven't done that in a couple off seasons, and their fan base is usually pretty upset by that. I've been saying forever, like, we need to let these kids play instead of going out and signing a 32-year-old guy to a bloated contract. Anyways, the Yankees are finally doing that. They've seen the writing on the wall with the contracts and everything, and Ben Rice is rewarding them big time. The Yankees have needed a first baseman. We've been trying to fill that hole with veteran signings the past few years since Teixeira left. And I love Anthony Rizzo. I love Paul Goldschmidt. But they were past their prime. Still playing good defense, but their bats weren't the same. We got Ben Rice now. He is hitting like the best hitter in baseball, and we're going to have him for years. I'm very excited. Very excited for the Yankees youth. Good work, y'all. Continuing that on the mound, Cam Schlittler just continues to feel like a strong rotation piece. 1, 2, at worst, a third starter. Will Warren is also pitching very well. Again, this rotation is going to be at the top at the end of the season. So now, maybe the biggest head scratcher. We touched on this a second ago with the NL East, but what is wrong with the New York Mets? They are engaged in a historic 11-game losing streak right now. I believe I heard Dan Patrick say today that no team has ever lost 12 games in a row and made the playoffs. So the Mets desperately need to win a game. I don't know if they're playing right now as I record, but they need to win their next game. Let's go through some of the reasons, right? Like, Juan Soto's hurt, and that's huge. Juan Soto is a top 3 hitter in baseball, and when that guy's out of your lineup, nobody is as good of a hitter. That's how good Soto is. Every hitter in the lineup elevates because Soto is also in that lineup. And when you take him out, they start seeing a lot harder pitches, a lot less strikes, and their job gets a lot harder. And they're not coming through. They need him back ASAP. The lack of offense, I mean, that means they do not get guys on base. They do not get guys in running and scoring position very often. But even when they do, they are not hitting well. They're hitting .219, I believe, with runners in scoring position through their first 22 games. That is not going to cut it. When you're only getting 1 or 2 guys in scoring position per game, you need to bring them home. They did just have a great pitching performance on Sunday, and then the team went 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. And this is a historic Mets problem. You can go ask Jacob deGrom. You can go ask Matt Harvey. I mean, they've been doing this for years. deGrom never got run support when he was there. He would have like a 1.8 ERA and lose 12 games, win like 4. The New York market's tough. I don't know what's going on, but this is a consistent problem for them. 3. The overall pitching has been awful. I mean, Nolan McLean is pitching like an ace. He continues to do that. Clay Holmes is pitching well and continues to reward the Mets for moving him back to the rotation. But the other 3 starters have been just awful. Peralta has an ERA over 4. Peterson has an ERA over 5. Kodai Senga has an ERA over 8. It's not going to cut it in Major League Baseball. It's not going to cut it in a tough NL East. And it's not going to cut it when you got the Dodgers, right? Like, that's the team to meet, to match, to try to beat. And that rotation, that offense, is not doing anything against the Dodgers. And the offense behind Juan Soto could have used this opportunity to put their imprint on the lineup, on the season. And nobody has done that. Francisco Alvarez, the catcher, has had a decent year. But his OPS is in the 800s. It's a good year for a catcher. But it's not going to make up for missing Juan Soto. Bo Bichette has been just disappointing. He's making the Blue Jays look wise. He has a 538 OPS. Or as my friends at Talkin' Baseball would say, he's playing like a 5-year-old. I love that rating system. I find it very easy to explain baseball and how good somebody is to a lay baseball watcher, someone who does not know the game that well. I love the system. I will break it down real quick. All right, so Bo Bichette is a 538 OPS, so he's playing like a 5-year-old. Most baseball players, the average baseball player has a 700 OPS, so they're a 7-year-old. So Bo Bichette is playing like a 5-year-old with most players that are 7. So he's not doing very well. Francisco Lindor has a 600 OPS. Simeon at 606. Vientos at 616. Jorge Polanco at 532. That's a bunch of 5- and 6-year-olds trying to play with 7-year-olds. And then when you get to the real talent, 8, 9, 10-year-olds. 5- and 6-year-olds aren't going to be able to hang with those guys. You get in the ranking system, like I do really like it. Good work Talking Baseball, John Boy Media. Maybe they heard it from somebody else, and I apologize if that is the case, because I've only heard it on John Boy Media. But this story can change. The Mets have talent. Getting Solo back is going to improve the rest of the offense. It's going to turn some of those 5-year-olds into 6-year-olds, then maybe 7-year-olds, possibly 8-year-olds. And then, by the time they're 8, they'll be competing. But with this bloated of a payroll, it's a huge underachievement. And I think the locker room's going to be in trouble. Somebody's going to have to step up and lead when no one is playing well. Lindor needs to be that guy. He always has slow starts, so he needs to step up and explain that there's time, that you can get it back. You can make up the ground. Lindor needs to be that guy. Soto is the best player, but Lindor needs to lead. Quick recap of where I stand. Wembanyama is built to win it all. Are the Spurs as well? The Magic will pull off that upset against Detroit. Screenshot it. NFL draft week is here, and many teams have no room for error. And the Mets, 7-15. That's all I have to say. If you made it this far, I genuinely appreciate you. Drop a comment and tell me if you think I'm crazy on the Spurs or the Magic, or if you got a first-round upset of your own. Also, hit that subscribe button if you're new, because we do this every week across NBA, NFL, and MLB. I'll leave a link here to another video as well, and I will catch you on the next one.